Hi friends, so today we're going to be reading a book all about our flag. This book is called Stars and Stripes. Our flag has a story. The 13 colonies that formed our country all had different flags. We needed one flag for all of the United States. We made a flag that had 13 bright stars and 13 bold stripes. We made our new flag in red, white, and blue. We called our flag the Stars and Stripes. Our country grew, so we added 2 new stars and 2 new stripes. A famous song was written about this flag. So friends, the famous song that was written was called the Star-Spangled Banner, and that is our national anthem. Our country grew more and more. We needed to change our flag again. So as you can see, there's been more states added than just these 13 colonies along the coast. So the United States started to expand. We went back to having 13 stripes on the flag. The stripes show our country began with 13 states. Now there's even more over here. We added a star for each new state that joined our country. The star pattern changed as their numbers grew. Now our flag has 50 stars for our 50 states. Will there be another star added someday? So this shows up here flag patterns with 51 stars. So if we do add another state, this is what our flag could look like. June 14th is Flag Day. We fly our stars and stripes on Flag Day. We remember the story of our flag. It is a story that hasn't ended yet. We read our book, Stars and Stripes, about the story of the American flag and how it came to have our 50 stars and our 13 stripes. Next, we're going to read a story that talks about a holiday that's coming up this weekend. It's called Memorial Day. So we are going to talk about how we can use our stars and stripes to honor those who have fought for our country. Before we read our book, there's one thing I wanted to point out. When we're reading our book, we might see some words that are in bold. Those bold words can be found in the back of our book in a place called the glossary. The glossary tells us the definition of words that we might not know. Memorial Day. Memorial Day. Kyle, we'll stop at the post office on our way into town. Did you put on sunblock? Grandma asked. Yes, Grandma, I did, he answered. It was only 10 o'clock, but the sun felt hot on his back. It was the last Saturday in May, and Kyle was ready for summer. His grandparents' small town was so different from the city. Kyle loved the old buildings here. He was glad when his parents told him he would be spending the long Memorial Day holiday weekend here with his grandmother. The short walk to the post office took longer than Kyle had expected. It seemed like everyone in this town knew each other. You couldn't walk past someone without saying hello or swapping news. See you at the parade, people said with a friendly wave. This was the first Kyle had heard about a parade. What parade? He asked Grandma. The Memorial Day parade, of course. This is Memorial Day weekend, you know. she said. Kyle knew this 3-day weekend was special. The town pool opened this weekend, but he didn't know there would be a parade. You have a parade for the beginning of summer? Not exactly, said Grandma as she dropped a few letters in the mailbox. Haven't you ever been to a Memorial Day parade? She asked. Kyle shook his head. There was many parades in the big city where he lived with his parents, but they never went to them. His parents usually worked on holidays. He saw a Thanksgiving Day parade on the television once. He hoped there would be big balloons at this parade, too. Maybe he would meet other kids there. Memorial Day means more than the start of summer fun, Grandma explained. It's a time to remember. She stopped without finishing her sentence. Come, I'll show you. We'll go to the cemetery. Grandma turned and walked briskly in the opposite direction. We're going where? Kyle asked, quickening his pace to keep up with his grandmother. Kyle had never set foot in a cemetery before. He imagined a creepy place, but the town cemetery wasn't creepy at all. Kyle thought it was actually very nice, especially with all the flowers and flags. As they walked, Kyle noticed that other people were there. He saw a young family standing by headstones and a woman his grandmother's age. He saw a soldier in uniform. Then he saw a troop of Boy Scouts had gathered at the far end of the cemetery. What are they doing? He asked Grandma. Then he realized that they were the ones putting out the flags. The flags mark the graves of those who have served in all branches of our armed forces, explained Grandma. It's part of our Memorial Day tradition to honor soldiers buried here, to remember them. Kyle remembered his teacher talking about the Revolutionary War. That was a long time ago. He knew that the United States had fought in many wars since then. Was there always a Memorial Day? He asked Grandma. At first, it was called Decoration Day. You know, decoration can mean a medal or an award to honor bravery in battle, Grandma continued. They had stopped in front of a grave with a flag next to it, and Kyle read the inscription. This soldier was only 19 years old, Grandma. That's my cousin Ken's age. Kyle suddenly felt sad. His grandmother noticed his mood changed. Yes, it can be a solemn occasion for many people, she said. As they walked back to the house, Grandma told him that many countries have different days set aside to honor lost soldiers. In England, it's called Poppy Day, Grandma explained. Poppies are red flowers that became a symbol for Memorial Day. Back at the house, Kyle used the internet to discover more about Memorial Day. He read General John A. Logan's Memorial Day Order, made in 1868, 3 years after the end of the Civil War. This was the official beginning of the Memorial Day tradition in America. It became a federal holiday in 1971. By the morning of the parade, Kyle felt like a Memorial Day expert. Did you know they have a Memorial Day in Australia too? Kyle said as he dug into his pancakes. By the morning of the parade, Kyle felt like a Memorial Day expert. Did you know that they have a Memorial Day in Australia too? Kyle said as he dug into. By the morning of the parade, Kyle felt like a Memorial Day expert. Did you know they have a Memorial Day in Australia too? Kyle said as he dug into the pancakes his grandmother had made for breakfast. By the morning of the parade, Kyle felt like a Memorial Day expert. Did you know they have a Memorial Day in Australia too? Kyle said as he dug into the pancakes his grandmother had made for breakfast. There, it's called Anzac Day. ANZAC stands for Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, he explained. Kyle and his grandmother had found a shady spot to watch the parade. You can watch the parade with me, or you can ride on that old fire truck and be in it, his grandmother said. Wow, thanks, Grandma, Kyle said as he ran toward the truck. Kyle knew this was a solemn occasion, but parades were fun too. So we just read this book about Memorial Day. A boy named Kyle goes and visits his grandmother for Memorial Day weekend and learns a lot. He learns that Memorial Day is for those who have fought for our country. We honor those people who fought for our freedom, and we can celebrate it in a lot of different ways. In this book, they celebrate by putting flags out at the cemetery, and there's a parade as well. This year is a little different for us. We might not have a parade, but we can still honor those who have fought for our country. Hi friends. So today Sadie and I are going to walk around the cemetery. I know we just read a book about Memorial Day, and the little boy Kyle and his grandmother go to the cemetery to look around to see how we honor those who fought for our country. So today we're going to do the same. We're going to see how we decorate their graves to honor them and thank them for being our heroes. Friends, as we can see, a lot of people at this cemetery have fought for our freedom and our country. And on Memorial Day, we put those flags there so we can remember those people and thank them for all that they did. Here's another example of how we can represent those people in a cemetery too. They have a bunch of flags around their flagpole. We honor those people who might not be buried here, but also fought for our country and have died since. So this other flag right here shows that this person was also a firefighter in a town near here. So he served his country and his community and kept us safe. We're going to do a directed drawing where we draw the American flag in a heart. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to start first by using my pencil, going toward the middle of the paper and making a heart. I use my pencil so that if I wanted to redraw it a little bit, I could make that part a little wider. Once I do this, I want to take a section, probably this top section over here, kind of, let's see, sort of like that. A line down from the middle a little bit and then straight over so that the top left half is a semicircle, and that's going to be where our stars go. So now I'm going to take the rest and go over, make some stripes, go down here, make some stripes. And remember, we're doing our best trying our best, even if it's not perfect. This is just me giving it a rough sketch of what we can do to make our Stars and Stripes heart. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to go over my pencil edges. So let's see, I'm going to go over the heart, outside of the heart first. So far, we have our outline for our Stars and Stripes. And I'm going to erase some of my pencil lines. All right, so I've erased all my pencil marks. I'm going to take my blue section and outline it just so I know where each color goes. So blue would be this section right here. And it doesn't have to be a marker. It could be a colored pencil or a crayon. It could be a marker. So now I know that this is my star section. And then I'm going to go over my stripes in those different alternating colors. So that makes a pattern. Red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white. All right, so I filled out my Stars and Stripes, and now as you can see, I colored this all blue. So I'm gonna go back in. I have a white colored pencil. You might not be able to see it, but I'm gonna start drawing stars in our stars section. If you want, before you color it blue, you can draw these stars yourself. You can also use a black marker to draw the stars, just so you can see them better. But this is how I'm going to draw my stars. So now that I'm all done, I can give my picture a title. I can write V T H E, the stars and stripes. The Stars and Stripes, because that is the name of our flag. I'm going to write down here, I love, on to the next line, our flag. I love our flag. What else can I write? It is beautiful. What does it represent? What does it symbolize? We could write, it is a symbol of freedom. It is a symbol of freedom. So this is my picture, my stars and stripes in a heart, the Stars and Stripes. I love our flag. It is beautiful. It is a symbol of freedom. So I hope you like my picture. I hope to see your pictures. I hope to see your beautiful pictures and your beautiful writing about our Stars and Stripes. Thanks for having fun with me in this video. Coming around to the cemetery to see some of the ways that we honor our heroes, and I'll see you next time.